Going under my foot.
Can you email me this new one? It's the old one.
Sounds good. But I want for
Oh, I think it's working.
Can you send me the new link?
Yeah. Is there a different link? I think so. Okay, so you want me to email to you?
Yes, sir.
It was on your right. Oh, yeah.
maybe we should introduce ourselves before we start. That way, all of us. Yeah. Hey, John. Maybe we shouldn't because I feel like that wastes time. We could introduce all of ourselves at the start.
So Katrina, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I know as far as the questions go, that there's going to be like questions that people can send in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming the same for candidates for the same positions, right? And then you all have questions prepared professionally.
Yeah. We have both. We have.
Like dependent upon who send in.
We're gonna do the prepared ones first, and then we'll save the social media ones for the end.
So we'll each like do our initial thing and then come back for questions.
No, you'll go ahead and do your platform, and then platform for 3 minutes, and then questions for 4 minutes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
So we do a platform, and then so I would do platform, and you ask me questions, and you do platform, and you do questions.
Yeah. So it's like one after another, kind of similar to last year, but with a time crunch.
Okay.
Good. 3:15. I'm gonna at least have us start introducing ourselves.
We can do that now.
We can do that now.
So if you're going to be
My computer?
Yeah.
It's muted, okay. And people could comment.
We can do that now. Okay.
What should I say, like, join the discussion?
Guess they started.
I think I'm muted, right? That's what it was.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday afternoon. I know that many of you are just as busy as we are, so we really appreciate your time. The purpose of today is to get to know all of you a little bit better so we can do our candidate endorsements for next week's paper as well as for online. As some of you might already know, we're also live streaming this at theorion.com, so let your parents know. And we want to know if there's any more writing candidates since last time we asked. No? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with everybody's first name and last name, and then everybody will have 3 minutes for their platform. And then after their platform, we'll have 4 minutes for our questions as well as questions sent through social media. We'll have a break from 5 to 5:20. And you can ask people to either tweet directly at you or tweet at theirion.com if they have any questions. I'm waiting for this guy to come in. But first, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves, since we'll...
One more thing before you move on from that. Yeah. The Orion created a hashtag, so that's feeding directly into our website. So if you folks feel so inclined to tweet about the forum today, or if you want to invite other people to tweet, the hashtag is Orion Elections, and that's feeding directly into our website. It's where we're going to be pulling, hopefully, questions from our viewers or readers, whatever the live stream people are called. But yeah, so I encourage all of you guys to tweet about your other candidates, about yourselves, or anything like that.
Okay.
And I think that was it.
We'll go to start with introductions. Zach, you can go first.
Hello, my name's Zach Coyle. I'm the opinion editor. That's fun.
I'm Jessica Barber. I'm the PR director. Emily Bertolino, video editor.
I'm Risa Johnson. I'm the features editor. I'm Katrina Cameron. I'm the editor-in-chief.
I'm Ernesto Rivera, and I'm the managing editor.
Liz Coffey, and I'm the art director.
Jose Zorade, news editor.
Sharon Martin, sports editor.
Hi, I'm Easy Jazz. I'm the editor.
John Regan, Chief Copy Editor.
Great.
So I think we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, so we have, first up is, Jesus, Mike. It's Mike. Jimmy Guillen. Is it Guillen? Pronounced Guillen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to time you, and then I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds left for your platform. Let me just get my stopwatch ready.
Do you have a Twitter handle, Jimmy?
No.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and begin.
All right, well, hello, my name is Jimmy Guillen, and I'm one of the candidates for VP of Business and Finance. I'm a third-year honor student with a double major in Finance and Management Information Systems. I chose to run for AS because I feel like as students, we should be getting the most out of the money we pay as associate students. As a finance major, I've pretty much almost finished my finance degree. I have one more class before I'm completely done with it, so I feel like I have the knowledge and experience enabling me to better handle the associated students' funds and their investment accounts. Part of my platform is to go ahead and let's start with last week. I attended the investment committee's meeting with Taylor Aaron and the current VP Business Finance, Jacob Arbogast, in which they talked about the divestment. Ballot issue, or procedure, yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. What we discussed is basically that because it's a lot more complicated than it is, we need someone with more financial knowledge and background in order to be able to understand how divesting is a lot more complicated than just simply pulling the money out. You know, we have mutual funds that target all of the money rather than just a single thing. I'm the current treasurer for Alpha Sigma Phi fraternity here at Chico State. I transitioned in December, and within the past 4 months, I have managed to decrease our chapter debt 40% and increase our chapter revenues by 25%. So, you know, I've done pretty well in that sense with the financials of our chapter. One of my biggest goals when I transitioned in was to go ahead and ensure that we are a more prosperous and profitable organization so that we can go ahead and make the best of our undergraduate fraternal experience. And as VP Business Finance for the associate students, that's another goal I have. You know, our undergraduate experience is only 4 years, maybe 5, 6, whatever time you may be on, but it's only that short amount of time we have here. And, you know, we should be able to get the most out of that short time we have. So I feel that with a stronger background in finance, with management information systems, all of that, I can go ahead and ensure that our students are getting what they want and that our money is being securely and properly handled.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second while I capture my notes here. So one of the questions we have for you is the Wildcat store has often lost money for many years. So what is your vision, and what would you advise the Wildcat store to do?
So I know the whole issue with the Wildcat store losing, or seeming as a not very profitable business, has been talked a lot by Orion, by other students. However, when seeing the associated students, we must see it as a whole, not just the little components. So we do have the Wildcat store, which is losing money, which is a directly correlated to the book sales that we're losing out of, because when a textbook is required by an instructor, we are required to have it on hold at the and for sale at the bookstore. However, we have the university housing and dining services, which is completely killing it in revenues. You know, they're doing a great job with what they're doing, which completely offsets what we're losing with the Wildcat bookstore. One of my, if elected VP of Business and Finance, I would suggest that we kind of try to lean away from the textbook sales as our main category or priority for our business operations, and focus more on other things such as clothing, makeup, technology. You know, the sale of the computers and iPads and iPhones, all of that should be the cornerstone of our business operations rather than the textbooks themselves.
Thank you. One of the other questions is, what is your experience? I know you spoke about this briefly, but what is your experience with finance and budgeting?
Finance and budgeting. Well, I've served as either treasurer or fundraising director for 7 different organizations throughout my time. And with budgeting, as treasurer of Alpha Sig, it is a fraternity chapter, so I manage a substantial amount of money. It's around $25,000, $30,000 that I'm managing myself. You know, there's not that many 20-year-olds that are able to say that they've managed that amount of money, which would be the same for running and managing the multi-million dollars we're running for AS. So, you know, in terms of budgeting, I'm having to create and manage a budget every semester for our chapter, in which I have to like oversee that this money is being handled properly, used for the right functions, and allocated appropriately. So I feel like in that sense, I'm very well rounded in the realm of budgeting. And for finance, I'm a finance major. You know, I'm 1 class away from finishing it up, so pretty much any question you might have on investments and any of that, I'm your man. I actually have my own investment portfolio that I've had for the past 2 years, so I've been very well engaged in the terms of finance.
And clarify me real fast, you said you were a double major in management information systems?
Correct.
And finance, right?
Yep.
I want to make sure that. So if elected, what would be your top 3 priorities?
Top 3 priorities would be to ensure that the divestment ballot measure is handled accordingly so that we actually can in fact say that we have divested from fossil fuels. Secondly, to ensure that the associated students, the auxiliary businesses are more properly managed and that their business operations are tailored to what would better the associated students as a whole. So that would go in hand with the Wildcat store moving away from textbook sales. And then third would just be overseeing that we're getting the biggest return on our investment accounts that we have here on campus at the University Foundation and any other investments that we may have.
We have about another minute. Do we have any questions yet from? Okay. So what do you feel the position has lacked in this year or previous years that you would bring differently?
Let's see. More of a, not to like tarnish anyone's previous attempts, but just you know, more of a proactive role in the management of the auxiliary businesses with the associated students. You know, a lot of times we kind of just let things go with the flow. We don't challenge the status quo. We don't really want to change what's working. But you know, change is always good. You can always do better. So you know, that's one of the things I feel like be better for this position.
Okay, and I believe you're out of time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jimmy.
Oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to tell you guys, after you come up and give your interview, we'll be taking your photo at that lovely screen over there. So the
Next stuff is it Jocelyn or Jocelyn Calderon? Jocelyn Calderon? Not here?
Does anyone know if she's coming in later? Okay.
Here. I asked Colin back in.
Okay.
Can you share this?
Well, in that case,
The
let's
doc,
do
the doc. I can't get it
Taylor
on my iPad. It's really slow. Everybody's on it. Can you? The email. Other way.
That's the other.
Not Taylor Sand.
Nope.
I don't want
What's
to
the
log
other
out
name?
to my other email.
Jasmine Reynolds.
Because like everybody's on the doc.
Oh,
It's
Jasmine,
not working
huh?
on my iPad.
Javon Smith.
Javon is here.
So just to reiterate, we have 3: Jocelyn, Taylor, and Jasmine.
Yeah.
Okay, and you were Javon.
Javon.
Okay.
And
And
no takers ready?
note taker? Who's note taker for Javon?
Javon Smith.
John, are you ready? Okay, so you can go ahead and begin with your platform now, and I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds left.
All right. So my name is Joe Bond, and I'm a public administration major at junior. And my plans to be facilities and services is really simple, and it's to make the DMU feel like home. Over the years, the DMU has turned into an extension of the library. People come through thinking of it as a mall, and I think it's time that we change that culture. Obviously, we have renovations going on above the Wildcat store right now, and that's to change that center into a leadership hub, a place for all different programs to come in and interact with each other. But I think it's more than just that area. I think we need to encompass the entire BMU into this whole culture change that it needs to go through. Our BMU is not being used like a student center. It's actually just being used like a place of business more so than you think. If you think of the Wildcat store, that's the person that comes to mind when you think of the BMU. You don't necessarily think of it as a student community. And so I think that we need to change that and have students feel like this is a place they can come home. My idea is to have when students come here for summer orientation, that the first building they come in, they realize is the hub for student involvement on campus. And so what I want them to do is feel like they can come in. If they want to get involved, they know exactly where to go. If they want to hang out, they can do that here. Rather than it's just a place, you know, if it's a place to study, is it a place to have conversation, can you hang out here? I think that is an issue that a lot of people struggle with. And so that's mine, make the community feel like home.
Yeah.
So now we will move on to the interview part of the process. Are you ready now? Okay.
What sort of experience qualifies you for this kind of position in the schools?
Yeah.
What sort of experience do you have that qualifies you for the position manager?
Currently, I'm the AS outreach coordinator, so you got retweeted recently. That was this guy. But what some of the ideas I've done this year, it's more than just to outreach and show that AS what we do. It's more of showcasing it to students. And so we've done things like highlight program spotlights that are outside of the AS office, put up the officer bios or office hours to let them know that they're accessible for the students, put the AS values on the wall right here. A lot of people never knew that was a wavy wall until we actually put words on it. And so that's all the way of just trying to build a connection with students. Once you see what someone values, you can understand what they're about, and you can understand why we do what we do, whether it's K, whether it's community service, whether it's GSEC and activism. I mean, our values display that. And so I was really instrumental in bringing it up.
So, everything you see, what specific changes do you think are necessary to make the BMU?
Right now, I think there's a lot of changes going on. I mean, it's all about how the new space is used above the Wildcat store. I think it's also about what we do with the basement, reusing that area, because now it's kind of awkward. You go down, it's kind of quiet, can you talk? And so people are really questioning that. But I think some major changes do need to happen, and I think it has to do with the structure of how and where places are. And I think, and they may be extreme, but I think something as simple as, let's move K down to the second floor. Let's bring GSEC up to the second floor. Utilize that entire second floor. Like, if you want to get involved, that's where to go, the second floor, not upstairs, not being confused. We currently have financial services on the second floor. I think it speaks a lot to where certain buildings are and to the structure of how our building is being used. Otherwise, if you have one program up the top floor and then you have another program that's just as important on the bottom floor, I think that says a lot about where we actually got. And so I think maybe just having those conversations, what can we do to actually utilize the spaces differently? We have plenty of rooms for meetings, but how much of them are being utilized for what they truly can be for AS?
As the chair of the SAC, what benchmarks of sustainability are important to you in funding the project?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think that sustainability to me means long-term and lasting, not necessarily just always green. I mean, that's definitely important, but something that can be long-lasting. I think that if we help promote students and let them know that it's comfortable coming and presenting ideas to us, and I'm a big fan of comfort. When you come into a meeting, I want you to feel like you can be there, you can speak openly. I think what we practice nowadays is more formality and then don't speak unless called upon. I think it needs to be an open discussion. Let people question, let people see what's going on, even within the meetings. And I think that can promote more sustainable ideas if people can walk through it and work with you through it. So I think even in the meetings itself, when we invite and open up the opportunity for SAC projects to be introduced, that they know that they feel comfortable coming in and presenting their plan.
You have about 45 seconds left.
Cool. The BMU recently added gender neutral bathrooms. What would you do as the BPFS to address the importance of gender and sexuality equality on campus?
Show people that. No. I think it goes back to what we have to do to promote all of our programs. I think GSEC is one of the main advocates for that, and I think having ways to promote not only just the location of the area to where the bathrooms are, but promote the program itself. And so I think different things like that. I think what I currently have been doing as the outreach coordinator has not been
15
tied
seconds.
specifically to our government affairs office. It's been promoting all the AS programs that I have. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Photo.
Oh, sorry. For those of you who came in late, just so we can give you a rundown of what's going on, we're going to start in with a first name, last name, position, 3 minutes for your platform, and 4 minutes for questions, and then a photo right afterwards. So just wanted to give you all a heads up.
So next we have Taylor Johnson, Behavioral and Social Science.
Note taker for Taylor Johnson. Okay. So, are you ready?
Sure.
You can go ahead and begin.
Okay. Hello, my name is Taylor Johnson. I'm running for the Senator of College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. Sorry, long day. I am a technically third-year transfer student, and I'm a political science major. So I guess my platform would be definitely connecting students to the faculty, to the administration. I've been through experiences in my short time, this is only my second semester here, where I felt intimidated to just go up and talk to the staff. I know that when I engage with students in the classroom as well, there's a pretty overwhelming feeling of not really knowing where to go, who to talk to. You know, there's so many names and people that you can go through. I think it's a great idea to have the Student Senate, and I'm excited to be running for it. Thank you.
Okay, Taylor. What makes you a desirable candidate for this position?
Well, I am a political science major, so I'm familiar with the whole organizational structure of how you go about business like this. I'm just very, I'm very open. I like to engage with the staff and the faculty. I like to engage with the students around me. I consider myself to be a person that people feel eager to come up to and ask for help in class or shoot me an email. I'm always very assisting of other students, especially because I know there's been times when I felt like really frustrated and defeated, especially my first semester here, is getting used to the college life. And if it wasn't for those people, staff and students who reached out to me, it would have had a very different experience here.
What's the most pressing student issue in your college?
I don't know of any pressing student issues that come to mind. One thing that I've been thinking recently about changing is it's come to my attention that oftentimes there are situations where maybe a teacher's teaching style doesn't exactly match up with the student's learning style, and there's a lot of struggles there. I do hope that if I get to this position that I can do more to make more options for students, especially like if they realize past the withdrawal date that this class really isn't going to work out, and I know I'm capable of it, but whatever the circumstances are, I'm just not matching up with this teacher's style. So I think probably one of the most pressing issues is just communication with the administration.
And how would you like to improve the communication between students and the administration?
Well, I guess that would be my role. I am someone people can come and talk to. I'm understanding. I mean, even outside of my major, I know that I don't spend very much time in Butte Hall if it's not the second, third, or seventh floor, but I know there's a lot of different students who are studying a wide variety of majors within the College of Behavioral and Social Sciences. And I just hope to be that voice for them. I hope that I'm easily recognizable. People know where I am. They know that they can always come to me, and that fear is broken down because I'm a fellow student. I'm not someone who's older going to, you know, looking down on you, giving their opinion from the faculty perspective.
I have a question. What prior experience do you have that makes you most qualified for this position?
Well, like I said, I'm a political science major, so I'm pretty familiar with just organizational structure, how things like this usually go. I have been in ASB. When I was in high school, I was the commissioner of virtual publicity, which was basically I was running the website, but when I branched out, I ended up doing a lot more. I pretty much filled the role of president due to some personal circumstances of our own president during that time. But I guess I feel like what qualifies me is I'm out there a lot. I'm on campus a lot. I work in AS dining services. I communicate with a wide array of faculty all the time. I'm on a personal level with a lot of the faculty, especially in the political science department. Familiar with
30 seconds.
And yeah, I guess I feel like that's what qualifies me for this position.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Nikki,
Nikki? You know Nikki?
Alrighty, Anita Zamora.
Can you move it down?
Yeah.
Okay, we can hear you. Yeah, we can move it up and down.
No figure for Anita.
Okay. You can go ahead and begin.
Hello everyone, my name is Anita and I'm running for Commissioner of Student Organizations and Programs. The past couple semesters, I've spent a lot of my time really trying to get to know my community and the people in it, and with that I've been getting involved with Greek Life and CAVE, and additionally I'm involved with EFAC. Within these organizations I have learned many different things and have many different experiences and met a lot of people that have taught me and given me a better insight of what it's really going to take to be the best and efficient commissioner that can be. With EFAC, I have learned the ropes of it. Not only have I been able to sit in the meetings, but I've been able to shadow our commissioner and really see what all her duties are and how she undertakes a lot of responsibilities. So additionally, with all of that, I feel that having this experience on the council for this past year would make me one of the best candidates. What I really want to do when I go into this position, I want to make sure, being part of Greek Life and EFAC, I've noticed that a lot of people don't go to many events. And part of this issue is because, you know, there's not enough advertisement or the advertising is not done right. And I realized that these issues within our program can be solved by implementing different ideas. And coming into this, I want to be able to reach out to students through websites and Facebook and try to advertise through that and really try to approve and use our student dollars and make the most of them by getting as many people out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What made you decide to run for this position?
I actually joined the council before I even thought about running for this. I kind of just wanted to get more involved with school. I wanted to meet a lot more people, and being in this council, I just realized how essential it is, like all the programs that CSU Chico offers, how essential it is to really take advantage of them, because a lot of them offer great, such as winning the money game, such great advice to leave college and be free of debt. And I feel that these opportunities are things that could really help people later in life, and a lot of people are missing it because they're not getting the right information.
What new ideas do you have to bring to this position, and what issues do you plan to address?
Like I said, I really want to address the issue of getting higher attendance at our events. And with this, like I said, I want to reach out through social media. And I am still very involved with other organizations, so I really want to be able to go to people there, kind of get to know what they're into, what they want to have our campus provide for them, and be able to show that to them so we can have higher attendance at these events that people really want to go to.
Do you have any major changes in mind for allocating money to student organizations or programs on campus?
We have been doing such a great job with allocating our money, and I feel that I will continue to. What we do really well is being able to discuss exactly whatever proposal comes to us in depth, asking as many questions as we can to see how many people it's really going to reach, and I feel continuing to do that, and trying to get as many questions in about did you have a previous event, and making sure that our money is going to go to something that is going to be worthwhile. is my main objective, is just making sure that we know that this event's going to work.
Why should voters choose you for this position?
I believe voters should choose me for this position because I am a very personal person, and with my experience, I've been sitting on EFAC, and I've, like I mentioned, been shadowed, and I've seen all the responsibilities. I know it's a huge time commitment, but because of this, I have carefully observed how our current commissioner does everything. So I know that jumping into this position will be very smooth because I will already have a lot of the, analytical management and communication skills that are needed to have this position.
You have a minute and a half left. Okay.
Any questions?
Does anyone on the panel have any other questions?
How do you feel about school spirit on campus?
I think that we definitely have school spirit to some extent, but we can definitely work on school spirit. I know that Rowdy Red just started up again this semester, and I think it's great that they're doing it, and I feel like if we can get, our programs to maybe tie in with them and get them more involved, they will be known more, and our school spirit can definitely get a little bit better than it is now.
Should we get you through social media?
No questions? No questions from social media. So I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was it.
Cassandra Bednarski?
It's okay.
Note taker ready? You can go ahead and begin.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Bednarski. I'm a first-year student here at Chico State, majoring in international relations, and I'm running for the position of Commissioner of Community Affairs. Through my time here at Chico State, I've gotten involved in a lot. I'm currently in freshman leadership opportunity, also known as FLOW. I'm on the speech and debate team. I've been a K volunteer last semester, and I hope to continue that next semester. I'm also a part of Christian Challenge, the Democratic Club, so I've really gotten involved in a lot here at Chico State, and through this position, I hope to be the link between student life and the Chico community. I really want to make sure that as an advocate for student life, I'm also advocating for the community and their efforts as well. My platform is safety, advocacy, and collaboration. One of my main priorities is safety. I want to make sure that students feel safe, and not just the students, but also the surrounding community. I want to continue with things like the bike safety, safety walks, reaching out to Greek life, because I know they're a huge group at Chico State, so I want to make sure they're involved with things like safety walks. I want to increase community service. We just had Cats in the Community, which was a huge turnout and a huge success. I want to keep doing that and elaborate that so more people get involved. I want to, continue with the events that not just the students can get involved with, but also the community. We've also had new legislation that the community has thought of, like the social host ordinance, and I want to make sure that students know about that, and that students know that we're one community here. We're not segregated between the students and the Chico community. We're all one, and when advocating for one, we're advocating for all as a whole. And I'd just like to point out that even though I am running unopposed, I think it's important for all students to get out there and vote for the best candidate. And personally, I think I'm the best candidate for this position because I've gained a lot of skills through all these organizations I'm in. I have the passion and the drive to really get things done and make sure that we're advocating for both the students here at Chico State and the community as one unified community. And also just, I've had a really positive and memorable experience here as a freshman, and I want to make sure everyone gets that same experience. So I'm going to continue the effort that the current Commissioner of Community Affairs has, and make sure everyone can get involved with the community, the tight-knit community we've created here at Chico State through the programs and through the community service projects we've continued to have here. So.
Thank you.
So you mentioned Cats in the Community and other events that go on, but are there any specific community safety issues that you would like to see the campus and the associated students support?
Yeah, JW, the current Commissioner of Community Affairs, has done a great job at providing more safety walks on South Campus. I want to extend that to all parts of campus. I want to make sure that not just students are involved, but also community members from Chico. I also want to look at some of the lighting in the area. I know, as a freshman, I have to walk everywhere, and so I've noticed that there are places in Chico that aren't as light friendly, I guess you could say, and so I really want to elaborate on that. I want to, like I said, elaborate on safety walks and bike safety, so pretty much just extend all the things that the current Commissioner of Community Affairs has done.
I have a question. So I've attended a lot of town and gown meetings, and I've noticed that there's more town representatives than gown representatives. What would you do to encourage more students to attend those monthly meetings?
I think just the main thing is getting it out there. I know I've mentioned town and gown meetings to friends and just to people, to students here at Chico State, and a lot of people don't know what it is. And so I think first just making that a public awareness here at Chico State so more people can get involved. Really advocating that this is an important aspect in providing a more community feeling here at Chico State. So the first thing would just be to let students know about it, and then I know I'd have kind of a group of students working with me if I got this position, so I just have them publicize it and really just make people more aware of it to increase attendance.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on the social host ordinance?
I think it's great. I've actually been to the GAP meetings that have talked about it and gone through it, and I think it's a really positive effort that the students and the community have come together for. I think it's really necessary, and I know some students may find it a little bit, they don't like it exactly as much because they feel like, it's a lot of money or whatsoever, but we have to realize that it's our safety that's our first priority as students, and this effort is really maintaining that safety for students and community members. And so we should get together and support it because it is a community-wide effort and it will increase safety for everyone here in Chico. So I think it's a really positive effort that we've gone through.
Are there any issues aside from community safety or the downtown party culture that you would like to address?
No, I think that those would be my main priorities, just safety, and that also I mentioned community service. I think that we really, in order to maintain that tight-knit community we have here at Chico State, we need to get more people involved with community service and community events. And so I think not just having cats in the community, but other weekend events where we go out there and we have people going to these different businesses and giving their time to help those businesses would really help out students here in the community. So.
And what's one thing you'll do in this position that would be an improvement from this current year?
You have 30 seconds left, so I'm pretty sure this will be the last question.
Again, just, I know one of my main things is safety, but that's already being done, so I'll just elaborate on that. But something that I would bring would be extending community service, not just in cats in the community, but providing more other weekend community service events for all students to get involved with. So more opportunities in fall semester and spring semester other than cats in the community.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have Farnham.
How about we try asking the people who were here when we called their names earlier if they're here now?
Okay.
People have been walking in late.
Yeah.
We have Jocelyn Calhoun.
Still no job.
Oh, I phoned her. She's on her way. She had work.
Okay.
Oh, she's one of the ones who can make it until 5?
No, she didn't say anything about that.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll see her later. Thank you.
Taylor Sand. Don't have Taylor's number.
Taylor Sand, anybody know
Gosh,
Taylor?
Nicole.
I'll get away from you.
Okay.
Jasmine Reynolds. Nikki Benan. Okay, so Farnham Falabi.
No one?
Does anybody have his number? No Farnham.
Twitter handle, tweet him. Where you at?
Hashtag late.
Hashtag yeah, run late. Well, it looks like I think we should start the break early because some people can't even make it until 5, and if we just roll right through it, we might not give them enough time.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit ahead of schedule because a lot of people weren't here. We were planning for like about 15, 20-minute break, but we could extend it. Do you want to say meet back here around 4:15 to 4:20?
Yeah.
Meet back here at 4:20. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm gonna stay here. There's always one.
Give me a second. Come on, Zach, let's go.
Huh? I know. It's because a lot of people are here. Well, last year's like, we were like, all right, who's next? Oh. Yeah, at least way more structured than last year. Last year was just okay. Like, yeah, like it was really
Can we post on Facebook and Twitter that we're taking a break and then we'll be back? We're gonna leave it on because we're nervous about stopping it.
No, that's okay. You say you should try. Hey, what's up?
Sure, I think first we'll go after the break.
You guys already be at 5?
Yeah, but I mean, I can definitely wait after the break.
Let me go ahead
And then we'll post again.
The time. It makes sense. We have open spaces.
When we're back.
Here, you want to come with me next month?
Yes.
This has been his baby, so.
Norway, Sunday, yeah, what they do. It's a good one. I'll do it together.
It's very good.
And it's for
Yeah. Colorcompass.com.
Yeah.
I like the word that we like. Like if a teacher says, I don't know. I was really happy with you.
That time that Stacy
I always slow down, especially now that I've been talking.
Oh, wow. Eat it a little.
Hey, how are things going here?
We were trying to test the sound to make sure it's good. I was trying to do what was going on.
Oh, looks like she called Jonah out over there.
Imagine when people singing music while
we're talking. I hate microphones. I'm like louder with that one.
You can hear pretty well in here, actually.
Yeah,
Well, at least it seems like it, I guess. It's pretty loud. How are we gonna do this? Like,
do you want to type it up on my?
Being so early.
I'm gonna do singing song.
I think a lot of people are gonna come in later, but like those people didn't. Like Moses asked them, like, hey, if you need to come in later, let me know, and like none of them said anything.
That should be something that's tweet about. Candidates who didn't show up.
Oh my gosh.
Never thought that right.
No, but still. Oh. It's okay.
I'm getting out of the camera now.
Is it the camera? Oh. Is that our camera?
I don't know. No, we got to do that.
It looks like a robot.
Should we YouTube?
I think it can hear us.
It can hear us. You should probably just type it up on.
Okay, should we do a break though? So now we'll.
Oh, it's really delayed.
Is it?
There's a lot of lag.
Look.
Okay. That's awkward. Can we turn off the sound while we do this? Oh, what is? Hey, Emily, it's really delayed.
Look how delayed it is.
Yeah. I was talking to her. She said it's fine though.
That kind of happens.
Right now.
Is this the mic?
Yeah, it's this way. inappropriate for us to mention your
It's so fun.
Oh my god, we did zombie like
It's okay, I like almost flashed the camera, so.
Jocelyn?
When is she going to be here?
No. I just texted her, girl, you better get here.
Does she know where here is? Does she know where to go?
Maybe, yeah, everyone got the info. So
Okay.
they should know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's on there.
So this one's, so Jocelyn's a maybe. Everyone else I think is probably no show. So we're going to go ahead and get started now.
With Corey.
Corey.
Okay. Thank you so much for shifting around your times. I have to coming out to make it too.
Oh, of course.
Oh, the microphone's not on.
It's okay.
Is it on?
Is the mic
That
on?
one.
He's loud enough.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, we want to make sure that our live streamers can hear.
We're CB.
I almost broke it earlier, so is that what it is?
Yeah.
No, take it ready for Corey?
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. We can hear you, but we want to make sure the live stream picks you up.
Okay.
Yeah. So, are you two ready? Okay. You can go ahead and get started.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Corey James Mason, and I'm running for the position of Executive Vice President. I think that it's really important to understand that the role of EVP is to serve as the Chief of Staff of the Government Affairs Office, as well as facilitating the success of the other officers. As a current officer, I've had the opportunity of being a member of the Government Affairs Committee, being the chair of the Bill Memorial Unit Committee, which are two of our three standing committees, and being a voting member of the Board of Directors, which is a governing body of our corporation. I believe that I am the best candidate for this position because I have had first-hand experience what it means to be an officer, and like I mentioned earlier, you have to facilitate the other officers' success. I've also witnessed my coworkers going through the process of achieving their goals, so I understand their tasks, I understand their positions fully, but most importantly, I understand the challenges that come along with their positions. It was extremely evident this year that having a returning officer as EVP greatly enhanced my opportunity to be successful in my position. Having that previous experience allows me to be more of a teacher than a learner, and I have that experience to be that teacher for the incoming officers. I really want to serve in this position because I would have a greater possibility of impacting our campus because I would be acting in a supporting role to 9 officers, 7 senators, and I would act as the internal contact and the voice of our AS programs towards the government affairs, government affairs. If you know me or we've interacted in any capacity, you know that the number one most important thing for me is respect. I believe that in order to be an effective student representative, you have to understand the populations that you're serving. So, if elected, I intend on reinvigorating what we call our Build Big sessions, building leaders, bridging gaps, and using that space for personal and professional development of our officers so they can properly serve our diverse student body. This can be in the shape of leadership training, diversity training, ally training, red watchman training. Because I believe that if we're going to be officers, we have to really embody the values that we represent as the associated students of the corporation. One of my goals, if elected, would be to increase our collaboration with Butte College. Because I really want to work on bettering the transfer student experience at Chico State so they can have the opportunities to be involved like the people that have been here since their very first year. I intend on championing the efforts towards creating something similar to FLOW, the Freshman Leadership Opportunity, but for our transfer students, a Transfer Leadership Opportunity Program. And I want to create this program so all our students can have the opportunity of being involved, and once they get here, get them pulled into the associated students, because it would be housing the associated students. And it is my hope that every student on our campus fully understands what it means to be a Wildcat, and hopefully get them living the Wildcat way. I know that I am not the person that I was when I came into Chico State, and I really want to create those opportunities for involvement for other students so they can grow as much as I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. What made you decide to run for this position, and what experience outside of AS qualifies you for it?
It was an extremely difficult decision whether or not I was going to run for this position because I am not going to run for something that I'm not qualified to do. I had a lot of conversations with some of the officers asking them, do you think I would be capable of doing this, facilitating all the other officers' success? that's a huge pressure, and I wouldn't put myself in that situation if I knew I wasn't capable of doing it. I have been an intern at the Gender and Sexuality Equity Center. Through my previous position, I've worked closely with sustainability. I have gone on adventure outing trips, and I know most of the people in CAVE. So I feel like I have a really well-rounded experience of what it means to be a program within the associated students and how to adequately bring their voice to our office and government affairs, because we are the people that fund their budgets. And I love being a student advocate. It's my passion, and I plan on pursuing that for my master's program as well. So this is just a perfect segue into that.
Do you have any plans to expand on gender inclusiveness on campus, and if so, how?
Well, I feel like I've already done a lot in regards to that. The restrooms, I was a key, crucial part of that happening. But I mean, I guess I'm the most inclusive person I know, especially with terminology and language. That's a huge thing that I wanted to bring to our team. I did that this year, and I hope to do that next year as well. I think that language is extremely powerful, and by having student representatives that don't walk into a room full of people within the gender spectrum and say like, hey guys, I feel like that's huge because you're not addressing certain people in the room. So it's just with terminology in every aspect of my life, I try to make it as inclusive as possible. I mean, as a transgender man, person of color, I feel like I've been on the losing side of most of those battles. So I guess I'm the most inclusive person I know.
What other issues do you plan to address with your position if elected?
I really want to work with the Student Advisory Panel, SAP. This is where all our student programs get together, and it came out of a policy from the Environmental Affairs Council to make sure that our programs are being sustainable, but there's so much possibility for growth within that, because when you have a representative from all of the programs within the associated students, like you have the CDL, the Child Development Lab, that is in a separate building and feels like they're not even an entity of the associated students. The same for CLIC. And I want to bring all of those together and actually create and collaborate in that, like as the AS family that we actually are.
What would you say were your biggest weaknesses as your AS position last semester, and how do you plan to overcome them?
Definitely my biggest obstacle was not being transitioned properly. The person that was before me really checked out, and whenever I would ask questions even prior to being elected, I never really got a solid answer. So I never really knew how to achieve the goals and how to properly go about achieving the goals that I wanted to do. I had lofty goals, and I achieved every single one that I mentioned. If you check the Pastor Ryan video, I literally did everything that I said I wanted to do, and that is partly because of the great leadership that we had of the returning students that we had in office. And I believe that was like my huge downfall, not knowing exactly what my position entailed, but I was just so eager to learn.
30 seconds.
And no, that's fine. And that's something that I want to do for other people. Make sure that they know what they're doing, that how they can achieve their goals.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So how would you describe the student body?
The student body, wow, extremely diverse, not just in race or gender or sexuality, but in ideas and in backgrounds. I'm involved in a lot of student organizations and programs and leadership positions as well. And I mean, I meet a lot of people in the position that I am right now, just in the Good Morning with Fact table. We get people from all walks of life coming towards us, and especially being right now I'm in the process of being a summer peer or orientation leader, and we have non-traditional students. And this, the good thing about transfer leadership opportunity that I'm trying to create, it's not just for transfer students, but it's for non-traditional students, for returning students, and also to possibly go to serve our veterans that are going to be coming back, and to like get them involved in our campus community. So I see the people from all walks of life. I mean, I see a lot of diversity with myself as well. So I believe that the student body has so much potential, and I love to go say it.
We are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you should do your photo.
Your photo.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Michael Pratt.
I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Note taker ready for Michael Pratt?
Yes.
You could go ahead and get started.
Well, my name is Michael Pratt. I'm running for the Director of University Affairs position. I'm double majoring in legal studies and public administration.
You have a Twitter handle? A Twitter account?
Yes.
What is your Twitter handle?
Just Michael Carter Pratt. Okay, yeah.
Can you speak a little closer into the microphone? No, it's okay. We just want to make sure the live feed picks you up.
You can move it up if you want to. I know it was moved down earlier. There we go.
Sorry about that.
So my platform is pretty simple. For the Director of University Affairs position, I think the main focus needs to be on securing the continual viability of the Student Academic Senate and build on the work of both Cole McAllister and Taylor Aaron in everything that they've done to put this immense project together. It's the first time that we've had a Student Academic Senate, which is really important. As a former president of a Student Senate at Shasta College, I know the difficulties that lie in making sure that it runs smoothly, and I can make that happen hopefully. Another big part of it is really helping to strengthen the shared governance process on this campus, making sure that our student representatives have the proper training and the proper know-how and come back to us and let us know what's happening out there, because there's a lot of areas that we're not getting adequate feedback from. And I think that this position is adequate in order to address those situations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you said the student representatives need proper training. What would that be?
Well, a lot of the times when people go into the shared governance committees and councils, you're going in a room full of individuals who have 20 years of experience in their field, doctorates, and you're sending in a student with no bachelor's degree and with maybe a year or two experience in debate or discussion. So really showing them how to handle a situation, how to address those individuals respectfully, as well as competently, ensuring they understand the procedures, like parliamentary procedure, understanding things like what shared governance is, and in simple things like matriculation or whatever subject matter they're going into to better understand the situation.
Has there been a time where you stood up for something you really believed in, even though it went against the majority of the room?
Oh, yes. Are you looking for an example?
Yeah.
One of the big things was that at our school, the entire campus at Shasta College was completely and totally against the Middle Class Scholarship Act. But I worked with the Student Senate in passing a joint resolution with our Academic Senate that actually became the resolution that the California State Academic Senate took in and passed and helped build a cornerstone of the Middle Class Scholarship Act that was eventually passed.
What do you find like the most rewarding thing about dedicating yourself to this type of service, and some of the pitfalls?
Sorry?
What's the most rewarding thing about what you are doing?
The most rewarding thing, I think, is just knowing that what little things you do to help foment the academic environment to make everything better for them. That's what I really love, is just knowing that the small things that we're doing here and now will have a larger implication and effect on a lot of students.
What is the current situation with the Student Academic Senate, and how will you communicate that to the student body so they know how to get involved?
Well, right now there's not much, because it's the first year, which is its most formative year, and just getting out information, letting students know that they have representatives they can go talk to specifically with their individual colleges and serve as that kind of stepping stone up into the associated students, and making sure that we all understand the issues at the individual student level, and just having that nice stepping stone.
What would that be? What would that stepping stone be?
Just being able to have those senators that they can speak with and letting them know that they are there, and creating it to where that you have representatives from each department that go to the senator, and so you have more of a network and a more democratic system. You have a more widespread area where you're getting student input, as opposed to just a very concentrated group of power within the elected officers. Now you have a much wider base, and letting students know that arena for them to be able to talk and discuss freely and a little bit more widespread is about that.
Right. We have time for one more question. If there's anyone else on the panel.
What is the biggest issue you want to handle, you want to tackle in this position if you were to get it, and how would you tackle it?
The biggest issue with this, I think, is going to be in reshaping shared governance. It was something that I worked on extensively in my time as a senator for the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. A lot of students don't understand what shared governance is and understand the fact that we fought for a long time to be able to represent ourselves on virtually every committee that deals with decision making on this campus. And making sure that we have the proper vehicle for that is going to be my main concern and my main focus.
Thank you.
Darian Johnson?
Note taker for Darian.
Ready?
Hi. Okay.
We'll have her go after.
Yeah.
Thanks for the heads up.
So, are you ready?
Yes.
You can go ahead and begin.
Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Darian Johnston. As you know, I'm running for Director of Legislative Affairs. Just want to take this time to tell you a little bit about myself and also my goals as an officer. So about me, I'm a junior double major in Communication Studies and Political Science, and I've been involved with AS for the last 3 years. I was a part of the freshman leadership opportunity where I had the chance to shadow AS President London Long. I've sat on the Bell Memorial Union Committee, which is a multi-million-dollar funding committee for the AS for the last 1.5 years, and I currently sit on the Legislative Affairs Committee. I was also on the Chico State Solution Debate Team, where I won multiple national first place titles for team policy debate. And last semester, I spent my time interning for 2 different members of Congress in Washington, D.C., under the guidance of former Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta. I think these experiences make me uniquely qualified for this position, and I'm really looking forward to bringing that knowledge into Chico State to achieve my goals, which are to educate the student body, advocate on behalf of them, and empower students to get involved. So I just want to break those 3 things down for you. So educate. I think it's really important students understand legislative issues that affect them, not only locally or on the state level, but also on a federal level. For example, the Affordable Care Act. It's extremely controversial. A lot of people don't like it, but it is a law, and it really does affect students. So I think it's important to work with those other offices and organizations on campus to make sure students know how they can potentially benefit from this and how it will affect them. Second is advocate. I will be the advocate for students at the California State Student Association and also in other arenas, such as the City Council. For example, right now, we've been talking about it tonight, there's the talk about creating a new social host ordinance. And I think it's really important that student voice is present in that discussion and that we hold students, have forums, make them informed, and give them a lot of opportunities to give their feedback so that voice is present in the conversation. And finally, I really want to empower students to get involved in legislative issues on and off campus. One way I've attempted to do this is by helping foster the Cal State DC program here at Chico State. This program is alive at CSU Fullerton, and it helps facilitate students in the CSU system to have an internship experience in Washington, D.C. for a small amount of money while you earning university credit. And it's already an opportunity for students at Chico State right now, but a lot of people don't know about it. And I really want to make this a more widespread opportunity and established opportunity on campus so people can have the really important and invaluable experiences I did when I worked in Washington, D.C. So that's a little bit of what I've had to say, and I'm open to any and all questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is a quote from your Facebook post today. It is my goal as an officer to understand student opinions as best as possible by polling, hosting focus groups, and providing more opportunities for students. How do you plan to implement polling and focus groups for students?
That's a really good question. I know we already do things as advisory measures, but another thing that I really want to look into, I've talked to some officers about this already, and it seems like it will be tricky, but we're on a university campus. There are so many different kinds of people that are researchers, that are professional researchers on campus, and I want to tap their brains about how to do that, because it is really hard. There's 15,000 undergraduate students. There's 2,000 graduate students that I think that get left aside in a lot of these conversations. And I think that if we utilize those resources, there's so many different programs on campus that deal with studying human behavior and human opinions, such as political science and such as communications, which my background is. I think it's really important to ask those questions and see where we can go from there.
Okay. Have you ever attended a CSSA meeting as an observer or participant yourself?
Yes, I have actually. It was a really great opportunity to be able to do that and see student leaders from all the CSU campuses share their opinions and talk about different pieces of legislation that do affect higher education and students here and how they work that out and really play devil's advocate. That's something that I like to do, and with my background on debate, I'm really good at it, arguing on all sides, being able to look at a different perspective and all kinds of issues and being able to remove yourself from your own opinions so you can find what's
the best option for everyone involved, and I'm really looking forward to being able to do that as part of CSSA next year.
Okay. What do you think can be done to make them more effective, CSSA?
Yeah, so I think that there's been a lot of conversations about accountability. I know recently they talked about passing a new fee, and a lot of people were really for passing the new fee. And personally, I'm a little unsure about it. I think there's a lot of good aspects of it, but I think it's important that those representatives and those officers of the California State Student Association are accountable for that money. Where is it going to go? Who's in charge of it? There's not a lot of stability with incoming officers coming in and out every single year. And I think there needs to be some more structure in place and a little bit more scrutiny. Yeah, it's just $1 or $2 every semester, but I think that's really a euphemism for the multi-million dollars that are coming into that organization every year from student fees, and I don't think that a lot of students were asked how they felt about that.
What do you think the biggest issue students are facing in CSUs is?
That's a really good question, and I think everyone has a different perspective. And for me, I have a much different perspective than other people do on what they see as a huge problem. But I've had the opportunity to sit in different focus groups where other students have been asked these kinds of questions. And I think being able to get into classes that students need is a really big problem. So they can graduate on time, they can graduate in 4 years. They can actually do that and save their money. So I think that's something that we could focus on, making sure there's not as much of bottlenecking efforts. I actually read the article that was in the Orion this week about bottlenecking and people's problems in the opinion piece about pathways, and I think that's a really interesting thing when students have ideas like that. How do we take ideas that students have and issues students have with things like pathways and bottlenecking and use their opinions to hopefully work with the administration and build a better university?
So what would you do as a student activist to change this?
To change bottlenecking and things like that?
Yeah, what would you do?
I actually thought about emailing the student and seeing if we could talk about it and see, what specifically he has issues with the bottlenecking effect and how he thinks pathways are flawed, and talking to people like Bill Loker, who's the Dean of Undergraduate Admissions. I worked with him when I was part of the first year experience program on campus.
20 seconds, I'm sorry.
And I think having conversations to understand why those programs were implemented and how they can potentially be better, because they are so new, is a really good idea.
Okay, you have a hashtag vote Darien despite running unopposed.
Yes.
Is this overkill?
No, because I also have hashtag just vote and hashtag get out and vote, and I'm still tabling campaigning to promote the message that you should absolutely vote and know who you're voting for and why.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I believe one of our late candidates is here, Jocelyn. Before we get started, I guess we'll go around the room and ask one more time if anyone has trickled in. Taylor Sand, Jasmine Reynolds, Nikki Parham? No? Okay, so Jocelyn.
And do we have any other write-ins that came in? Okay, thank you. Feel free to move it down. Feel free to move the microphone.
Yeah,
go ahead and move it down.
So what we discussed before you got here was candidates are going to be given 3 minutes to present a platform and 4 minutes for questions from our panel. And so if you are ready, you can
go ahead and start with your first name, last name, the position you're running for, and like you said.
So I'm Jocelyn Calderon. I'm a second year here, and I am running for Senate of College and Communication and Education. Also, I am a double major with Public Relations and Journalism. For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to make a difference and help others, whether it be with special calls and CAVE, as well as with my sorority and giving back to the community. I've tried to make as much of an impact as I can on others. I wish to carry the same devotion into the AS Senate. I want to represent the voices of my fellow student body and ensure that their needs and wants do not go unanswered. I will also work towards promoting great opportunities with the College of Communication and Education. As a lover of imagination, I will bring a unique perspective to the Senate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So one of the questions I have is the College of Communication and Education houses 7 different departments. So how will you adequately represent each college when they'll all have different issues and different ideas and things like that?
Well, I want to personally work with the department chair, or the chair of the department, sorry. And from there, kind of build a site where students can come and advocate their issues and then kind of go back to share the department.
Oh, what is the most pressing student issue in your college?
Wait.
What is the most pressing student issue in your college?
You know, honestly, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I don't know.
Are there any changes you think are necessary in your program or the building classes?
Personally, I believe it's one of the best programs here.
Do you see any changes within the program, or I'm sorry, the College of Communication department that you feel you would like to handle?
I want to get them more out there and promote them and let students know that there is opportunities, because I know that a lot of my peers don't know of internships that are out there because they don't check online or anything. So try to meet people and be like, hey, this company's coming. And
what would you do to get more alums to come to Chico State's communication department and talk to more students about opportunities that are available after graduation?
I would email them and persuade them to come and be like, you can impact them in this way. You were once a student as well.
And in the world of digital journalism and a lot of technology even being used in classrooms, the College of Communication Education needs more funding for technology more than ever. How would you how would you appropriately ask for that money, and how would you go about making sure that it's distributed evenly throughout all the departments?
I think I would gather a group of students who really want to be involved in that. Also work with professors and see if we could come up with a plan and strategize in a way to make that possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
We can ask a silly question. You like crunchy or creamy peanut butter?
Crunchy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have to take a picture.
Next up, we have
Choose up next.
Zelaya.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Please for.
Give me one. You can go to the beginning when you're ready.
Okay. I'm Jose Zelaya. I'm a third-year junior. I'm pursuing a degree in anthropology. I'm running for the position of Senator for Behavioral and Social Sciences. This is going to be the first year that the Senate position is open, so I will be sitting on the Student Academic Senate, which for our college consists of 11 departments. And they're all very different, but again, they're very closely interrelated. And I believe that the Senate should be a center of involvement and to build interest to the colleges that haven't gotten center positions. And my platform is to build, I guess, close the gap between the students and the colleges through contacting faculty and administrators. I believe this can be accomplished by educating students and helping them build their voice. And this can be done by having faculty administrators help out with workshops, seminars, and lectures. And currently, right now, I'm in contact with a lot of the faculty administrators to I guess, talk about their concerns that have at the college and pressing issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you think is one of the most pressing issues?
It's a very good question. I think the problem right now with our college is that a lot of programs are being cut. There's like multicultural initiatives, which like a lot of programs, especially departments, they don't have a chair, they have a director or a program coordinator. So they're like funding for staff is like they've been impacted, their classes are being cut. Was it Health and Community Services? I've heard that they're facing cuts, which definitely shouldn't happen because, you know, these are people who are in these majors and they need these classes to graduate or just want to take this class for fun. And so, you know, we pay for this education. We deserve these classes.
And how would you help solve that problem, the problems you just mentioned?
Okay. So definitely we have to like work with the professors and the students who care about these programs, and then reach out to students who don't know that these programs are being cut. Probably start a committee to formulate proposals and forms to, you know, talk to the president, Singh, and hopefully, you know, represent us like during lobby days at the Capitol Hill.
If you were elected, what would some of your plans be for the college?
Well, so we need to develop workshops and seminars because right now the students aren't like fully connected with their faculty, and so we need to bridge that gap so they can communicate better and feel more comfortable talking to each other. So that there could be like this fluid flow of information and concerns, so that we could solve those problems and issues that arise.
You mentioned that your college has 11 different departments.
Yes.
How would you go about adequately representing all the different voices and opinions throughout every department?
Yes. So currently, I'm founding a club and part of ICO, which is Interdisciplinary Center on Aging. So that pretty much means that I work with a whole bunch of different majors in behavioral social science and other disciplinaries that aren't even in my college. So I already have, I guess, that groundwork to communicate with different majors and talk about their concerns.
And probably our last question is, what do you think makes you a desirable candidate for this position?
Well, I'd say based on my campus involvement, I've been involved in ICOA, IGC, Phi Theta, which is fraternity. I'm in the management club. I'm an ETS alumni. And so that has allowed me to communicate with a whole variety of majors and college people. And so, you know, just conversating with like Adventures Outing, they talked about the ecological reserve by Verbigo. Never heard about it, but that's great that they told me, because then we're building that communication that I will need for the future, especially as a senator of the Behavioral and Social Sciences College.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
Hello, our candidates.
Except the ones who didn't show up.
Can I make like a short, just so you all know, all the senator positions chair college council that has a representative from all of their college clubs and from all of the departments. Just so you all know, as far as, I think that question has come up.
Okay.
Thank you for saying that.
Okay, Alex Weiner? Weiner?
Like Nicole said, I'm Alex Weiner, and I'm running for VP of Business and Finance. Just to give you a little about myself, I'm a fourth-year student majoring in accounting from the Bay Area. I'm also an Eagle Scout, and when I first came to Chico State, one of the first things I did was join Hall Council and serve as a treasurer for Lassing. If any of you have been there for Lassing, sometimes. Other than that, I really think that I can bring a lot to this position. We face several challenges, most notably the bookstore is currently looking at a deficit of about $70,000 next year. One of the ways that I think that we can fix this problem is currently we are the only system that gives back revenue to their school by a fixed amount. Every other school does it by a percentage of profits, and so I would work to renegotiate that type of contract with the school to potentially save us money there. And then also I work with CSSA. I know some of their plans, as was talked about earlier, their budget is not exactly for the voluntary fee, it's $4, I believe. They don't really have a budget for where that's going, but I want to work with them to pressure publishers of books. I think we've all been in kind of classes where we've had to get the newest edition of a book, and the old edition is pretty much the same. I mean, algebra hasn't changed in probably like 30 years. So I work with them for that. We can use, we're a huge system. I mean, there's 15,000 students here. If you combine all the CSUs, we can really use that as leverage. And then also I want to work on promoting the sustainability fund. I know we gave about $77,000 last year to 23 student projects. I really want to increase that. And along those lines, I also am voting for this investment. I know this will take about 4 years to get through, but I think it's not a large amount of money, but I think it's really important to kind of show, we're putting money into sustainability projects, into making our school and our environment better. I think we kind of need to put our money where our mouth is a little more, even though the profits from that do go towards scholarships. I think we can find a way to fix that. And then as a third thing, I'd also implement about a monthly newsletter to all students and just really let them know what's going on financially, because it is their money. We get all this money from students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's going to take it?
Emily.
So you mentioned some ways that you'd like to help the bookstore. Are there ways that you see helping the bookstore and helping the students at the same time?
Definitely. I think one of the ways is that when we rent books right now, I know that the charge, rent pay about $20 to rent a book. And if you want to buy that book, you can't use the money that you've already paid to rent. I think that money should be allowed. We should expand what students are able to rent, and then the money you've already put into renting should go to the cost of buying that book. I don't think it's fair to get $20 rental fee and then make them purchase the whole new book afterwards. So I think that's one way we can help students. And then also getting more, just more services in there. I know books are kind of starting to go down. People are starting to use check, their sales. So maybe really start kind of backing off having books be the cornerstone and getting in more. I know Verizon's going to come in. We're going to have a kiosk there. So just more things that students can use.
What prior experience do you have that makes you the best candidate for this position?
Well, starting when I was 16, my staff troop was pretty large, about 150 kids in it. So I did a lot of the budgetary work for that and a lot of planning for really big outings. Some of these outings take about a year to plan, backpacking Mexico or Alaska. So really just that leadership position of really planning things out for the future, but also knowing that I'm only going to be there for a year if I'm elected, or same as the Scouts, it's about a year-long position. So having to really transition in, use that time wisely, but also not leave a complete mess.
I viewed the breakdown of the associate student fees. Is there a way that you could allow students to have more input into how that money is being spent?
I think there's definitely, we allow that for clubs. It's not that much, obviously. But at some point, we do need to have someone that kind of just lays it down. There's obviously not enough money to go around. But I think we could definitely, earlier was talked about getting a lot of survey input and just polling from students. And I think we could do a lot more of that. We can attach it. We can do it in Blackboard. We could attach it to a lot of teacher surveys that go out and just kind of see where students want their money spent. I know we don't always listen to that so well last year with the water conservation referendum. So I know personally this year, if we do choose to de-invest and I'm elected, then I will make sure that that actually happens and we stick to it.
What are some of your top 3 priorities if you elected?
Definitely getting the bookstore back on budget and making sure they're not running a deficit. Really increasing the environmental projects that we do on here, because those aren't just good for the environment, they actually are a good investment return for the school down the road. Sometimes, in a couple years, they may take some money to pay for it, but maybe putting solar panels on top of the DMU, things like that. And then also really just engaging more with students, really making sure, like I said, every month I want to send out a newsletter, some type of email, just to make sure that everyone is involved and that they're getting information.
We have time for one more question. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. We have about 30 seconds.
Plans for the East Dining.
Sorry?
East Dining.
Personally, I actually really love the food. It was better than before. I thought it was better than Whitney. I really like Sutter. You got more options. But I think right now they're running a profit. They're doing well. So maybe make meal plans a little more flexible for people if they wanted to kind of buy smaller blocks. I know they did switch it over from when I was a freshman to that you can do You can kind of transfer swipes. You get all your swipes at once. I think that was a good idea. But I think so far they're actually running, they're running pretty well. So it'd be more minor changes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole Lung.
You can move it on down.
And note taker for Nicole. Thank you. All right, you can go ahead and get started when you're ready.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. My name is Nicole Lung, and I am a candidate for VP of Business and Finance. I am currently a junior, third year, majoring in business administration with an option in HR and project management and management. Let's see, over the past 3 years, I have been very involved with a diverse group of student organizations, programs, as well as the assistance of students. The College of Business, I'm currently in the co-ed professional business fraternity Delta Sigma Pi, and that's helped me really explore the financials and people and students that are in finances. I've helped with the business career fair and the finance decisions there, as well as the finances of the chapter. But also in the College of Business, I've been involved in a lot of other programs. But really where my passion came from was getting involved with students and student leaders started as a freshman in the associated students, and I give it all to that. I started off and got immediately involved with freshman leadership opportunities and continued on as a facilitator last year. In the process, I ended up being able to sit on the chair and be a voting member of the EFAC Council. So I've seen a lot of the funds and the budgeting for that and how that's allocated to student boards. Through my involvement, I've gained a significant amount of growth that has helped me develop the proper skill sets to work with student orgs, students, faculty, and the AS auxiliary businesses. I currently work in student life and leadership as a student paraprofessional, and it has really allowed me to hear the voices of students, where they feel, AS is, and how they don't agree or disagree with a lot of the decision making with, how it revolves around them. And I've had the opportunity just recently to partner with AS Dining, and what we have implemented recently is, it actually just started this week, is now AS is doing fundraisers for student boards. So much like T-Bar and with Bear, they can do that with the marketplace and common grounds. So that not only benefits students, but it benefits them as a business. I've also, over the last 3 years, seen a lot of changes in the Wildcat bookstore. And if elected, I want to ensure that I hear the voices of students and as well as staff and faculty within AS. And that's because any decision made with BPBF is made through the Council AS Business Council. And it affects the decisions of not only the students, but of the faculty. So there have been decisions made with like 401k and like their health care. And so it goes beyond that. And I really want to be able to be a part of these and implement these changes and see it grow. But
thank you.
Thank you.
So 3 top priorities of VP.
Okay, so for me, the first one is definitely the Wildcat bookstore. As we know, AS is a $27 million corporation, but over the past couple of years, they have lost $5 million because of those sales. And that's a huge cut, and it really affects us. And so we're trying to find ways to implement new ways to receive revenue. And as we've already heard, AS Dining is doing really well. And the change from the common grounds being underground in the basement to its new location has given a revenue of 25%. So even though they provide the same things, but moving a little bit of that and making those decisions has helped. So it weighs both sides. So that would be my first one. And then the second one is, again, being that advocate and working with this faculty and everyone that these decisions impact, and hearing their voice and making sure that everything that they want is implemented. It's not just a decision that we make as a council, because it's more than that. And then I guess that kind of touches it.
What kind of efforts would you, in terms of transparency, how money is being spent?
So the money is being spent and being decided a lot. Okay, so with this position, they should ASBC, and this isn't just made by me. It's made by everyone in that council, and that includes members from the university and AS as well as students. And being able to show students where that money is being allocated. There's a lot of programs that we have that they're not aware of, like the Wildcat Wednesday, and receiving 10% off of their total purchases, and that benefits them again and the business. But with the money, I think students are not aware of it, and that's something that needs to be spread and brought awareness to.
Do you have any specific plan on how you do that? Spreading awareness?
Yeah, so I think definitely the outreach and creating, I want to see like a council or some kind of workshop with this position, because this position does a lot of counseling things, but not directly with students. And I'd like to see polls and really go out there and talk to students, get their opinions, and then give them awareness of what's going on financially, where the money is going, because that is all in their tuition that goes towards the students.
I guess what other qualifications do you have outside of what you mentioned?
Again, I absolutely love the associated students. It's where I found my passion to do everything, to get involved. I've also helped pilot the Wildcat Leadership Institute program. I've worked with a lot of different College of Business organizations, and I've spoken to a lot of the staff and resources and getting their opinions, because they've been here for a really long time, and they've told me, this has been really awesome, this has been great. The director of the Wildcat the Wildcat store has told me, they're doing different things. So now they're bringing in more local items to bring students in, like the freshmen that can't go out and go to Target all the time, but bringing in more local items for them, local foods, doing the makeup that are cheaper, like the Smashbox. And then, like we've mentioned, I've looked into ASBC, and they've considered bringing in third-party businesses. So doing things like that would bring in people and foot traffic, which will allow more revenue for the store. So I'm really excited to see it all come through, and I'm very excited to be a part of AS as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nicole, you can come up here.
Is Zach Keller here?
Is there a chair down there? Oh, Kristen, you took her chair. Sorry. Nicole, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Nicole Santos. I'm the arts editor at The Arrive.
Thank you. And then we had somebody else walk in. Are you a candidate?
To the person that just walked in, are you a candidate? Oh.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Yeah.
So. Can you retweet Lizetti's tweets?
Was that like
his Twitter?
Ashley Simon? No taker for Ashley?
It's me, but my iPad's too slow, so. Actually, you know what? It works if I'm not on the original doc, so. Sorry, Ashley. Okay. Sorry, for some reason my iPad thinks I'm offline. Why are you doing this right now? Yeah. Sorry, all the Wi-Fi is probably like clogging up. Come on. Sorry. Okay. Okay, we're good. Sorry about that, Ashley. You can start whenever you're ready.
Okay, so my name is Ashley Simon, and I'm running for the position of Executive Vice President. I'm a third-year student. I'm a psychology major with a minor in women's studies. I'm running for the position of Executive Vice President because I think it is the position that I'm most qualified for. The EVP is like the team captain of the office. There's somebody that needs to be selfless and somebody who needs to get enjoyment out of helping others get in the spotlight rather than trying to be in the spotlight themselves. They're somebody that needs to be able to support their fellow officers, somebody that needs to encourage them, facilitate them, and help them with their programs, and also somebody who needs to be able to challenge them to be better leaders and better student advocates than they thought they could be when originally running for these positions. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. I've been working in the Government Affairs Office for the last 2 years as a staff member, first starting off as a front desk staff and then moving on to office manager. And I've seen what's worked and what hasn't. I've seen 2 different sets of officer teams come in and out of that office, and I understand how even though those could be 10 very like-minded people, they can have very different learning and leadership styles, and the EVP needs to be able to adapt to those. And I think through my work in my sorority, the Wildcat Leadership Institute, as a alum of the Freshman Leadership Opportunity, and a member of the Chico State cross country and track teams, that I have the ability to adapt to other leadership and learning styles, and that I'm constantly refining my own, and that I'm so familiar with working in a team. That is the perfect fit for me, and that I'm the perfect fit for this position as well. I think one of the main things that I would do in this position, if elected, would be to ensure that our officers are getting all of the resources and support that they need from our community and from each other. From working in the office for the last 2 years, I know how important and crucial it is to have an office that is unified and an office that supports each other and is as inclusive as possible. And this is going to be even more crucial now that we're moving into the bigger space with student life and leadership and some other programs. The EVP is going to be an important part of making sure that everybody is motivated, is dedicated, and is supporting one another, and is very, very inclusive, because it is going to be the hub of student life on campus. And I hope to be able to be a power force in making that really unified student space.
Great, thank you. So you brushed on this earlier, but what prior experience qualifies you for this position?
Well, like I did say earlier, is I've been in this office for the last 2 years, and actually I've been involved in the AS my entire time on campus. I started off in the freshman leadership opportunity, and I was able to shadow the elections coordinator that year. So the Government Affairs Office is like my second home. I know how the officers have to work together, and I know each position like the back of my hand. I've seen students come in. I work closely with the students that come into our office and need help or looking for assistance, and I know what has been working, what has been successful, and I know what we can improve on. I know what each position can improve on. I know what each position has been doing great, and I know that there is going to be so much more needed from the EVP to assist with the assimilation of the student senators into our office and into the campus community. It is going to be primarily the job of Director of University Affairs, but the EVP is going to be a crucial person in facilitating and encouraging and overseeing that as well. And that's kind of some of the experience that I have, and it's like I said, through Wildcat Leadership Institute as well, and being on a collegiate athlete team. I know how to do that, and I know how to work really well with others.
Thank you. And what do you think is the most important issue to tackle as EVP, and how will you tackle it?
I think that this is one of the things that I love most about this position, is that there's not one important thing. They're involved in a little bit of everything. They're a key factor in everything that goes through GAG. They chair the Government Affairs Committee, so they need to be in tune with all of the officers. They need to be in tune with what they're doing to be able to hold them accountable, and they need to be able to help them, to support them, to challenge them, like I said. And I think that that's what's so unique and important about this position, and what draws me to this position is that it'll give me the opportunity to help out with various things that are that need work.
What would you do differently than present or past EVPs?
I would definitely, well, first off, I want to start by saying that I am not running for this position because I see that there is a blinding thing that needs to change. I'm running for this position because the last few EVPs have done such a phenomenal job that I want to ensure that that continues, because I know that it is up to the next person to make sure that we continue to have great associated students and great campus and to enhance that. But I think that one project that I would focus on, if elected, would be to actually revamp the student advisory panel. It's something that was put in place back in, I believe, 2011, and I think it's this great idea that hasn't been used yet. It's still new, and I think people are still trying to figure out what exactly it's supposed to be. And I see it as being this great thing where all, not just AS programs, but university programs can collaborate. Even if it's something as simple as like, oh, you know, this program is having an event. Let's have KCSC plan. Let's have our grant consulting team there to make sure it's a sustainable event. If it's something as simple as that, or let's have all of our programs put it on our social media pages. Something as simple as that. I think it's this great thing that we just need somebody with the attention to detail and the ability to give positive feedback to actually be a driving force in using this panel. And I definitely, using the qualities that I've already talked about, I definitely have that ability to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, your photo.
Your photo.
Oh.
Is Zach Geller here? Alrighty. Before we get into the next,
The last two,
let's have our write-in, Matthew Pope.
Hi, my name is Matthew Pope. It's my first year at Chico State, freshman, science major, and I'm writing for the Commissioner of Diversity Affairs. And I believe that diversity is a huge part of Chico State, just from the people speaking here and in general. You can see that it's the very first campus, and it's a huge aspect of the life here. And I believe my platform is that to continue the programs and events that are established, and to create more also. So increase acceptance and not only that, but inclusion of all of aspects and backgrounds of all. And that's
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
How inclusive do you think about it?
I think it's very inclusive. I came from a very diverse area in Sacramento, which is one of the most inclusive areas in California or in the nation, and I think it's a part of that.
How do you think Chico State could improve its diversity?
I believe educating the students, not through classes, but through maybe panel or booths and more guest speakers would really increase the inclusion, because we need to show people other points of view to really show them how their other cultures work around.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you wanted to start some new programs. Any specific ideas you have in mind?
Not
currently?
Yeah.
What about programs that you feel are working really well?
I can do this.
Review it? What drove you to run for the position?
Excuse me?
What drove you to run for the position?
Well, I just think of the diversity as a really big part, and seeing how everyone really loves all the cultures around them here, that's really thought of a big part.
If chosen for this position, what 3 things would you do? What are your top 3 things that you'd like to do within this position?
I would really like to continue the communication between diversity organizations on campus, and also the ethnic fraternities and sororities on campus, to create more events that will educate students on different perspectives. That's the first one. And the second thing I would do would be to maybe invite more guest speakers on campus to speak about their backgrounds and experiences to educate students. And the third thing I do It'll be in a similar vein. Excuse me. In a similar vein to those other two.
How so?
It is more of an education to show them, the students.
What previous experience do you have that qualifies you for this position?
Well, we're coming from Sacramento, which is a really diverse area. I was a ranking member of the United Taekwondo Alliance, and I really can direct groups, small groups of people, and large groups of people in an organized manner, really effectively.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, your photo.
Your photo. Did anyone else walk in right now? I saw one person. And you are?
Taylor Sand.
Taylor Sand.
Can we come up?
Here's our last Taylor. I know there's three of us.
So after Taylor, we can go ahead and we'll take another 15-minute break before we go to the presidents, since we're a bit ahead of schedule. And
who is the one we're waiting on?
Zach Keller.
Zach Keller.
Zach Keller. Okay. So maybe he'll be here in time.
So, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
He says he's on his way.
He's got about 20 minutes to get here, or maybe 30 or something.
So before you came, we talked about the purpose. The purpose of this is for the Rides Canada endorsements that we do every year. And we would like you to start with your first name, your last name, the position you're running for. You'll have 3 minutes to talk about your platform, and you'll have 4 minutes to answer our questions. And then afterwards,
Afterwards, you get your question. Taylor.
I'm ready.
Oh.
Yep.
You can begin whenever you're ready.
So my name is Taylor Sand. I'm a junior currently. I'm a business administration finance major, and I'm really excited to run for the senator business position because honestly, I don't have any prior experience or anything relevant to it, but this is a first position, and I really want to hit the ground running with it. And my platform with it is honestly, I live in Glen Hall. I have all 5 of my classes there. I'm in there every day. And then I see and I hear what every person on every floor says. I have friends that work in academic advising in Glen Hall. I have friends who are like helpful and really close to professors all around, all on the floors in Glen Hall. I really know what people want to change in there, and I really know what I could do, especially because I also sit on different councils. I sit on EPAC, and I was the diversity coordinator freshman year in my dorm. But honestly, I am used to hearing what people say, and I do like to see things change. So if I am elected to this position, I'm going to set a good groundwork for future Center for the College of Business people, how they can model. I want to be like a model, basically, for when if I do get elected, and how to properly be a good senator and how to really listen to students.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So what makes you a desirable candidate for this particular position?
Well, like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a really previous experience, but this is a first year position, so my biggest advantage for me is I'm really enthusiastic about it. I'm not gonna say here anything to fluff myself up, but I know that I'm gonna put in a lot of groundwork, and I'm really excited to see it working with it, because like I said, I love business. I'm a business major, all my friends are business majors. I love also helping people, so as long as I get those two and put them together, I know I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna do a great job.
All right. And what do you believe is the most pressing student issue in your college?
I would say after having a lot of upper division classes, I would say the professors, some of them aren't very helpful outside of class or aren't very helpful inside of class. So I would say the biggest thing is student-to-professor communication. I know personally, I've tried to contact a few professors, they're not very good at responding, or they cancel their office hours. So I would say getting a committee together and working and trying to develop a way to contact professors easier for students, that would be my biggest thing right now.
How do you implement that, besides the committee?
Like, are you saying how I implement that strategy?
Yeah.
Well, I would try, honestly, I have a few professors I'm close with in the College of Business, so I'd probably go sit down with them, talk to them, and see how they respond. I know a lot of professors, they have their syllabus, they have office hours, but they do cancel a lot. I would just see how they want to respond to students and how they can better respond, because I know personally, like I said, I get flaked on a lot for office hours, and it honestly drives me crazy. So honestly, I'd probably establish a new system where they would have longer office hours and they'd be more flexible, maybe by appointment or something, because I know a lot of professors don't do that.
And let's see. What exactly business experience do you have as well, in addition, not necessarily leadership-wise?
Okay, so I don't really have any business experience either. I do work on campus. I work at AS. I work at the station, but it's not very businessy. But I do sit on a council. It's on EFAC, so I'm used to hearing different student clubs ask and voice their opinions. So that's probably the most relevant experience I have for that.
What are business makers like?
You're sitting next to one. You're literally sitting next to one.
Everything a business major says is very short, and they always complain. I'm not gonna lie. They always complain, and everything they say is very short. It says, "I want this fixed now. I want this now." So they can be very crowded, and they don't show up to 8 a.m.s. My 8 a.m.s are never full.
How many departments are in your college?
Last time I checked, I want to say there's 8, because isn't the project manager group really new? They split. I want to say there's 8. I have to double check though.
So one question we've been asking a lot of the senators is, how would you equally represent 8 different colleges who have 8 different ideas and opinions about issues?
I would honestly, because I have a lot of friends like I said are business majors, I talk to them, and then like my biggest thing is I'll talk to them and see what they want changed, and then I go talk to each of the different department heads and implement it like that. Because like I said, I'm finance, so I know a lot of finance friends. I have a lot of friends that are marketing, a lot of friends that are project management. I would probably go to them, talk to them, and then see what they want changed, and then go talk to people above them, professors, and then go talk to the heads of those departments. And do that.
From the panel? Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Break time?
Yeah, let's take another short break before we get to the president, since we're a little bit ahead of schedule. Yeah, quarter till sounds good.
So who are they? No, I have no. I'm gonna go. Okay, thanks, Zach. I think Moses might have it. Do you have the write-ins? Moses, do you have the write-ins? He's got it. Zach, he's got it. So Zach, tell us on the plan.
Wait, Zach already left.
No, Zach's still there.
Oh, okay.
Keller.
Oh.
He didn't show up.
Huh? Yeah. No, the camera's right here.
paper towel rolls over there that just roll around, and it's kind of unusual because then you have to roll the paper towel and then it's cleaned every so often when it runs out, and instead of using just more paper, and they have very low flow toilets, and we don't have that. But in regards to your question, I believe that we should start implementing those policies, maybe like check the water usage on the toilets, get these statistics, compare them with other countries even. We shouldn't really use other schools as a model for Chico that are in California, because not all of them are performing up to the highest standards that we should be striving for. Really, we should be looking to other countries that are surpassing us in sustainability and be like, what are their schools doing that our school isn't?
How do you plan to increase the campus's gold stars rating from last year to what?
Increasing the gold star rating will be very difficult because, you know, individual efforts aren't going to be the only thing that can improve that. It's also up to their discretion too if they want to improve our rating. So that's going to take a collaborative effort from the whole campus community. We can implement new programs, but like I said before, if the old programs aren't successful, then there's no way we can improve our rating. But I think starting with, you know, helping out with the toilets and other water waste that's going on, or, you know, cutlery at the dining store, and also the paper towels, just things like that will help improve our rating. Maybe one day we'll be able to get that platinum rating, but I can't promise anything. But I'll definitely try my hardest and strive to improve our rating as much as possible.
What sparked your interest in applying for this position?
I've always wanted to go to law school, and I've always had a fascination with environmental law. My sister and me were a pretty good team. She's an environmental science major, and she's always educating me on these issues and stuff. And I was like, we should always go into business together, like a dream of ours, and make environmental, you know, consulting. Or I feel like they're really the underdogs because obviously the big corporations have, you know, clean natural gas is the way of the world. You can't watch commercials on TV without seeing something about clean natural gas. So like that, they're really the underdogs in the political realm, and I've always been active in politics. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a liberal, I'm a Democrat, obviously, and I think that has kind of pushed my interest towards sustainability and environmental affairs.
Thank you. We are out of time.
Take your photo, please.
This?
What did the chair do to you?
We can go ahead. Oh, no, take it. That is Katrina.
That is me. I am ready.
So we can go ahead and get started when you're ready.
Hey everyone, my name is Vince Blaggery and I'm running for AS President. If we've taken a moment to venture across campus this past week, we may have noticed that there's literally a living room set up on campus for the Collecting for President campaign. And what started as an idea of doing something different and creative by bringing a couch on campus has manifested into a way that we have dialogue with students, and we're having conversations about their perspective, about their thoughts, and about serious student issues that they believe are important. Over the past week, I've had really cool conversations about 3 beliefs that I'd like to share with all of us today: unity, family, and tradition. In talking with students, we really dialed down and we've cast some vision for this upcoming year that I'd like to share with you in the 3 basic points. First is to establish and enhance our freshman experience opportunities through developing leadership development programs within every single college. Second is to expand our opportunities for transfer students to get involved in. And finally is to highlight student excellence across the university. So how are we going to do this? Let's break it down and we'll dive into some specifics on how we can really make some of these conversations into implementation. First, let's have a quick chat about freshman leadership experiences in every single college. With the new student senate being implemented, it's going to be a really cool opportunity and a unique opportunity to really tap into this potential because it's a pilot year. And so working collaboratively with students, staff, and AS officers, we'll be able to have a chance to really plant the seed for these freshman organizations. And so if we kind of take a look at this year's AS ballot, we'll notice that there's a lot of underrepresented individuals. There's some people running unopposed, there's some offices not filled. And so we want to cultivate a new idea of leadership development. So having these flow programs within every college is a way that we cast some vision for the future and hopefully get that healthy competition that associated students should have. Second, let's chat about transfer opportunities for students. I'm a transfer student myself, and this past spring I served on the transformation task force with 2 other students, faculty and staff, And over winter break, we spent 3 weeks planning, preparing, and executing an event called Transformation. And in that time, we talked about ways that we can engage transfer students on our campus and what are some specific things that we get involved in. At this event, we looked at ways to immerse them into the college culture as well as giving them some opportunities they can get involved in. I think as a transfer student, we're looking for ways to connect on campus. We're striving to get involved in higher leadership positions, and we have to tap into that potential because for most people, we come in here with 2 years and we want to get involved, and so let's really maximize our time. Finally, highlighting student success across the entire university sounds like a pretty heavy goal. However, just in this past week, my campaign, we've highlighted 50 students. The way that we've done that is on our couch that we have set up. Each week we have a specific prompt that we're talking about. This week we're talking about unity, and every person that comes to our couch, we have a conversation with them, we take their picture, we post it on Facebook. We also have Wildcat on these video series where every single day throughout the campaign, we're highlighting student stories. Students, when they see these, they feel valued, and over the course of the campaign, I'm excited to highlight student success, to foster unity across our campus, strengthen the Wildcat family, and grow and expand our traditions to become Wildcats Unleashed. I'll entertain any questions that we may have.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. How do you plan on getting students more involved in making decisions that directly affect them?
I think one thing that we have to consider when looking at associated students as a whole is that the majority of students, there's a lot involved in the associated student programs, but a lot of other students across the campus, they don't know what associated students is. And so I think the first step in really tackling that issue is informing people what associated students is and where their peers are going to. Some specific ways that we can make their voice heard is we take a look at orientation, getting workshops or seminars where students from the very get-go when they enter their college career, they know what AS is and they know the programs they're offered. So I think that's one way that we kind of tackle that idea. And additionally, making sure that these opportunities are available to all students in ways that that their voices are heard. So we have to just consistently using social media, working in concert with the AS Outreach Coordinator to make sure that we're broadcasting our opportunities to students and making sure that they're really knowledgeable about what's being happening with their student fees as well as with their voice.
And what would you do differently than past or present AS presidents?
I like to take that question and break it down into 3 specific points. First, looking at Labor Day and alternative events that we host for students on campus. Second is looking at the way that we exhibit school pride. And finally, ways that we can really have a fully committed individual within this office. Talking about Labor Day, an incredible, this past year did an excellent job of hosting Labor Day and really collaborating and having alternative events for students. We had about 1,500 students within the university come to these events, and that's a really neat opportunity for them to get involved in and to kind of step away from that party scene. However, one thing that I would like to really challenge ourselves to do is, one, making sure that we're targeting this event and these different alternative events to students outside of AS, because the students that we're targeting, they're the impressionable ones. They're the transfer students, they're the freshman students who are susceptible to partying. So we have to make sure that our marketing and that what we're doing is really specifically targeted to those students. Ways that we can do that, again, is through summer orientation and making sure that when students enter Chico State, they know that Labor Day, there's going to be a list of alternative events for them to get involved in. So we have to make sure that we're targeting to the people that are most susceptible to the party scene. Secondly, talking about the way that things exhibit school pride really comes down to how we value and recognize students. Thinking back to my campaign, kind of rewind about how we're highlighting students over the next 3 weeks. Students, when they see themselves across our lounge and a picture on Facebook, they recognize, they know that their efforts are being recognized and they know that they're feeling valued on campus. That's one way that we can really exhibit school pride. And while video release throughout 2 weeks or pictures on Facebook, they're pretty simple ideas, but they're ones that really bring students together and get them excited about being at Chico State. Today we released a video with a freshman, her name's Megan Lieber, and she's on the hip hop dance team, which is pretty awesome. And she shared her story about the ways that she feels united on campus. And I think doing things like that to show all students, like, hey, I have a place to fit in here, but I also have something that, that people are recognizing for, and that's a really cool experience. Finally, within this next year, I think it's really important that when we're considering the options for AS President, that we really look into consideration the schedule of and the demands of AS President and how we can make sure that the individual that we are investing in is someone who's going to be able to commit 110% to the job.
30 seconds, so we have time for one more.
What previous experience do you have that makes you qualified for the position?
After I graduated high school, I deferred a year of college to serve as an intern for the Department of Education, and I served as a president for the largest high school student-run organization in the entire state and in the entire country. I represented 70,000 high school students as the president, and I served on the board of directors of this organization, visited 300 different high schools, putting on leadership development workshops about agriculture education, and leadership development, and was a voice on the executive board while meeting with government officials and legislators and students and teachers for an entire year. I think that's definitely one experience that will help me throughout this next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Taylor Heron? Is Taylor Heron here?
You ready?
No, take your chair. You can begin when you're ready.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. My name is Taylor Heron, and I'm honored to announce I'll be running for a second term as AS President. The role of AS President is complex, and it's multifaceted. As CEO of a $27 million corporation, you are required to have an understanding of the corporate structure, the businesses, and most importantly, the programs and services that we provide to students. Chico State students pay almost $1,000 a year to the associated students, and as chair of the board of directors, it's important that you are always able to make a well-informed decision. Your AS president is the external representation of our student body. This past year, I've sat on over 30 university councils and committees, and my goal is to not only show up and represent these students, but truly be able to speak to any issue or comment or concern that affects students. I've strived to build relationships with our administrators, our city officials, statewide representatives, and the chancellor's office. These relationships allow me to advocate for students not only on this campus, but externally as well. Every year we have candidates come forward and they have platforms and we talk about these foundational ideas, about experience and commitment and involvement, but what does that mean for our campus? What does that mean for you as a student? As a returner, I feel like I have clarity and directionality about where I want to take this campus next year. I want to continue the work that we've done with student safety. We look at weekends like Labor Day and Halloween and Cesar Chavez. And we know that they will always be festive weekends, but how do we cultivate a culture that makes it safer and more local, and that we can build a community that we're really proud of and connected to? As you can see, we were successful in building the Student Academic Senate this year, but the major work is ahead of us. It's developing each of these senator positions so that they're unique to each college, and developing the Senate as a body that is respected and recognized so that it truly can be effective moving forward next year. The next thing I'd really like to focus on is if our advisory measure passes, it's really important to me that we're able to champion the voice of students and move them forward. This past year, I served as the sustainability officer for the 450,000 students at the CSU, and I feel confident that I can work with our campus and our students and the University Foundation to move forward with divesting the money from fossil fuel companies. I never expected to be here. I didn't expect to be running for a second term. I stand in front of you a product of Chico State. My involvement in FLOW and CAVE and GSEC, the CCLC, founding SAVE, the Leadership Institute, planning this way to sustainability, and Towning Down has made me the student that I am. I'm eternally grateful to this campus and the associated students for everything that they have done for me, and I am passionate about giving that back to every single student on this campus. It's important to me that we continue to move forward, and there's nothing that I feel more passionate about than the student experience and creating a Chico experience for each of you that you are proud of and connected to. I'm happy to entertain any questions at this point.
What are some weaknesses from this term that you'd like to kind of strengthen re-elected?
The biggest challenge with the AS president is the learning curve. The responsibilities of this position are astronomical. And I'll tell you that I spent about 6 months shadowing the previous AS president, and I spent a full time working this summer, which isn't typically required, to learn what my responsibilities were and to build relationships. When we were coming forward with initiatives this year, they were not successfully received until the spring, and that is because it's important to have relationships with the administrators and the people who make decisions that affect us that actually will be implemented. I've worked really hard to build those relationships, and I've worked really hard to increase credibility of our student body, and I feel confident moving forward next year that with whatever issues and projects come forward that I can really hit the ground running in May and be really effective and make things happen for our campus.
What are some new issues you'd like to address?
I wouldn't classify them as issues. I'd say one of the really neat things about next year, and you probably know, the state budget for the CSU has increased. And so there's some opportunities with that. We're going to be receiving some more funding as a campus. Some of you probably also know that the provost has put forth their academic plan. So this academic plan includes changes to curriculums, potential internships, youth faculty hiring, and it's really important to me that that is implemented. The other thing I'd really like to work on is redoing the SET process, the student evaluation of teaching. That has been one of the most prominent concerns of students. If they don't feel like they have a way, that was something that we tried to tie onto the Student Academic Senate, and it just wasn't able to be put forward in the proposal this year. So I sat on that committee last year, and I think it's really important that students have a place where they can be recognized and that feedback that students give is properly implemented. And the last issue that's come up, and again, a really common idea of students, is they'd like to see a Wildcat statue that's on campus. I know a big thing is school spirit and school pride. And so we've been working with the Board of Directors and the Alumni Association to secure funding for that, to not only build the statue, but then actually change First Street into Wildcat Way next year. And I think that would be really great for our campus, and I think it would make people really excited and feel a sense of unity and pride moving forward.
Other questions?
How do you plan on getting students more involved in making decisions at Berkeley Tech?
The Student Academic Senate is a huge component to that. As the AS, we do a fantastic job of providing extracurricular opportunities for students, professional development opportunities. We lack in representing students in academic affairs, which is ridiculous because we're here at a university to earn a degree. These senators don't only serve as a body that can speak to academic affairs, but they're a liaison between those colleges and the AS. We see students often who are very connected to their colleges. They feel comfortable in their major, and that's where they fit in. And these senators relate to them. And so they'll not only be there to hear their voice and hear concerns that are specific to their college, but it's a way for us to legitimately be marketing and getting information into that college and bringing it back towards us.
What prior experience other than your term as president this semester qualifies you for this position?
One of the things I'm most proud of, I'm a founder of Students Against Violence Everywhere. That was a student organization that came about last year in light of all the things that happened. We had 8 students die of alcohol poisoning last year.
37.
And it was really important to me that there was a very organic and student-driven effort that came forth. And so just having an understanding of student life and leadership and what it takes to address an issue and build an organization. I also noted I served as a statewide representative this year, and so I've done a lot of work with the Chancellor's Office and with the Governor in representing Chico State. And so I feel very confident in moving forward at statewide level and working with any type of professional. You know, my experience has been multifaceted. I've worked in student organizations. I know what it's like to be a student here. As I said before, I spent 5 years here, and I am who I am because of Chico State, and I can work with a student, professional, whether it's on this campus or at the statewide level.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any social media questions?
We had a question from Ashley Simon, which was directed at Taylor. I don't know. Oh, we want to do that.
It's an actress.
Do that.
Okay, we can do it after a photo.
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay, so the question was, how would you balance being a graduate student and doing research along with being the AS president?
Absolutely. So I'm graduating this year. I have a degree in animal science. I also have a minor in biology and chemistry. And so I have always taken a very rigorous course load. And so I feel confident my academic schedule next year will be 25 to 30 hours a week. I'm working on my research fellowship this summer to develop my proposal. And so that will be ready to go next year. I feel extremely confident in fulfilling the role and moving forward. I've always been committed to my academics, and I've continued to work 40 to 60-hour weeks in this position, and we'll commit to that moving forward.
Thank you.
And then I wanted to ask if anybody else in the audience had questions for either of the president candidates.
Or each other.
Or for each other, those who stuck around.
We should actually use them.
Question? Yes, sir. Directed at who?
Both of them.
Both the candidates. Okay. So we could have Taylor go first and then Vince afterwards.
It's important to me that the AS president knows
like something about state politics, and I'm sure you both do, but just that's really important because that affects us, and we have our student union, and it's besides that we don't really have a lot of representation because students don't typically vote that much. And my question was, what do you think the most important thing or the best way to get more students registered to vote and voting and also participating in politics so we can be represented?
You want me to speak into that again?
Yes, please.
Okay. So just to clarify, so you want to ask, you want to know the importance?
No, not the importance. Like, do you guys have any plans on or opinions on?
Increase representation at the state level, the candidates or microphone. So as I said, I've had the opportunity to work with CSSA this year. I've not only sat as an active member on the California State Student Association, but I've served as a statewide representative. We have seen students more involved in statewide politics because we're a publicly funded institution. The status of the state largely affects what we pay and the quality education that we have. CSSA, and someone had mentioned this, recently posed a system-wide fee, and so now all students will be paying a statewide representation fee. That fee is also a voluntary fee, meaning that if you feel like CSSA is not representing you well, you have the option to opt out of it. That puts pressure on us as board members and as the associated students to make sure that we are representing that organization and that students know what it is and they know how it serves them. And so I feel confident we'll see more involvement in that moving forward. I also feel confident that we'll see involvement because we are receiving increased funding from the state. And I hope students feel supported and a little bit more optimistic moving forward now that we see things positively changing on this campus.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think it brings up an interesting point. One thing that we really have to consider is we do have an active population of individuals who are active on campus and who are active in politics. And the one thing that we really have to really hone our focus in is the students who, the 80% of students who are not involved on campus, or the 80% of students who are just going from home to campus, and they don't really have an active role in much of university life or even within politics. And so we have to really broadcast that information and let them know, strategically let them know where, if we're talking about associated student fees or big issues on our campus, we have to let them know what those issues are, and reaching out to them personally, I think, is a big issue. We also have to provide relevance to students because students are going to be tapped out if they don't think an issue or something that's affecting them is relevant to them. And so we have to find ways to just let these individuals know how they're being affected by this issue, and then constantly being in conversation with them and having that dialogue so that they know what are the detriments that will happen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, if you want to stay up for a second, we have one more question from social media if you have time. We wanted to know the presidential candidate's opinion on the host ordinance.
Yes, thank you. I think it's an interesting topic. I think that it's been a really big issue over, within the community, and I think that it's something that students we have to be much more aware of in order to take a stance. And I think it's a positive, definitely something that's going in a positive direction. So I think that as the president, it's something that I'll be advocating for, and being able to just be something to really showcase the students and let them know what this issue is all about, because some students, again, we don't know what this issue is, and so we have to be able to shed some light on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my background, just so you all know, I spent 2 years as a director of CAVE before I came into this position, so community affairs was really why I wanted to move forward in issues with student safety last year. And for those of you that were around, we hosted the call and the commitment to action because we had all of these horrible things happen on campus in regards to student safety. And we had all these conversations about culture change and culture shift. Culture change and culture shift only happen by making difficult decisions, by making things that affect students. The social host ordinance is going to be a challenge for students. It is a $500 fine. It is going to restrict students. This is an ordinance that isn't focused at responsible and local and safe events. This is an ordinance that's focused at house parties with 400 people. Those are the house parties that the 2 students who died in DUI left from because they're underage drinking and people are supplying them with alcohol. Those are the parties that people who don't live in this community are driving up from the Bay Area to come to. And so although I understand the frustration of the students, I really do. I understand $500 is a lot of money. It would be really hard for me to afford a ticket like that. I think we're going to have to make some hard decisions if we really want to see our community and our campus progress forward, and if we want to build a community that we are safe in and that we're proud of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any more questions? Okay, I saw that there are some for VP.
For what?
Actually, there are a couple more that I saw.
Rita asked the VP from Austin.
Okay, and then there's another one about stance on overall campus. Do you see that one? Okay, I can go ahead and ask it. So this comes from a fellow Orion reporter, and she asks, what exactly are each presidential candidate's stance on overall campus unity in terms of ethnicity and ethnic background? Since you just went last, we can go with this.
Would you mind repeating the question one more time?
Yeah. So she asked, what exactly are each presidential candidate's stance on overall campus unity in terms of ethnicity and ethnic background?
Really unique question. I think that we have really good examples of unity on our campus in terms of ethnicity. With the Cross-Cultural Leadership Center, they're doing excellent things to promote diversity and promote ethnic awareness and being able to really showcase what each what different cultures do. We have events run by the CCLC almost once a month highlighting different cultures, and I think that's a really cool standpoint. At the same time, we have to recognize that there are still issues being faced, and we're still confronting issues about people we're coming from, we still live in a small town, relatively small rural community. We're still getting individuals from the northern part of the state, and we, coming from Sacramento, coming from a really small town personally, it's been a really enlightening experience coming to Chico State and understanding and recognizing the value of diversity. I'm part of a Christian fellowship here at Chico State, and we focus heavily on recognizing the importance of ethnicity and recognizing how do we expand and really grow the ethnic awareness on our campus and within our community. And so I think that as a campus as a whole, there's a lot of really, really great programs that are promoting ethnic diversity and promoting the awareness of it. We still have some work to do, and I'm excited to see that work progress as a future candidate for president.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with it. I know it's a complex question.
No, it's okay. Sorry, just one more time. Say it right.
That's okay. What exactly are each presidential candidate's stance on overall campus unity in terms of ethnicity and ethnic background?
So I'll start with kind of 2 examples and experiences and then move into how I think we should move forward next year. I had a really unique opportunity. I was appointed by the chancellor to the System-Wide Ethnic Studies Task Force. So some of you probably know our campus, along with many others, is looking at restructuring our MCGS department, which is very interesting because it's not only about the students who are in those majors, but it's about educating our campus about diversity and about ethnicity. And so that's been a really productive conversation that will move forward into next year and will really determine how those departments live on campus. The other thing that we've done internally that I think is really important is changing the Commissioner of Multicultural Affairs to the Commissioner of Diversity. Diversity is not multiculturalism, and so it's important that we expand that definition so that all different types of students feel that the AS is inclusive and that it can support them. Moving forward into next year, I think the thing about unity is different than standardization. One of the challenges that we had this year was we didn't have a candidate come forward for the Commissioner of Diversity Affairs. We had 3 students who came who were not eligible. A lot of these students are first-generation college students. They're coming to college not necessarily prepared, and so we look at something like a GPA requirement that's set at a 2.5, and to me that doesn't seem necessarily fair. We're holding our students who are coming from all different kinds of backgrounds, with all different kinds of experiences to the same standard, and so I think internally we need to look at how we operate as the AS and make sure that we're as inclusive to all of our students on this campus.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that was the last question I see. Do you see any more? Okay. Great. Moses, you can close it off since you.
What do I do?
Thank you,
guys. No, thank you guys.
Yes. Do any of you have questions for us? I know you mentioned something earlier, unless you're just joking.
Well, the endorsements won't be at, paper comes out every Wednesday.
Yeah,
the endorsements most likely maybe in this issue, if not definitely next issue, but they will definitely be online before the election happens. So they'll definitely be on our website well before. We have some work to do. We have to discuss our endorsements within ourselves and stuff like that, but it'll be up soon. Yes.
Will you notify us when those endorsements are posted, or are we just gonna find out?
We'll promote it on our Facebook and our Twitter, and we could email it through Man.
Perfect, thank you.
Question in the back.
I'm not a candidate or anything, but just curious, I don't remember the way it was last year. There's only one person running for a position. That person doesn't necessarily run for person?
Yeah, exactly. We can choose to not endorse someone even if they're running unopposed. Any other questions?
Is there anybody else running for the College of Communication Education besides Dallas? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I know
we didn't mention that.
about the endorsement.
Well, I mean, that doesn't really matter.
About what? Oh, well, no, this is between us.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming today, and we really appreciate your time on this Friday afternoon/evening. I know that all of you are just as busy as we are, and we wish you the best of luck. And let us know if you have any questions in the meantime. My email is editor-in-chief@theorion.com. And yeah, thank you, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.